Pisces, what if something you believed was completely gone, was never truly gone at all? What if the person, opportunity, or emotional chapter you thought had ended is quietly finding its way back into your life? And what if the universe has been preparing this return not to confuse you, but to finally give you understanding? Because today's energy around you is not about endings. It is about return. It is about renewal. And it is about something re-entering your life in a way that carries a completely different meaning than before. Pisces, there are moments in life when something leaves, and we assume it is finished forever. We accept the loss. We try to move forward. We tell ourselves that chapter is closed. But deep inside, something remains unfinished. Not always pain. Sometimes just questions. Sometimes silence where answers should have been. Sometimes a feeling that something was incomplete. And now that feeling is becoming active again. Because the energy around you is shifting toward revisiting what was once left behind. Before we go deeper, take a moment with this message. And if you feel connected to it, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper, and stay connected for your daily guidance. Your support helps this message reach more souls who need clarity right now. Pisces, one of the strongest energies surrounding you today is return energy. This does not always mean things will come back exactly as they were. In fact, the universe rarely repeats things in the same form. Instead, it transforms them. It reshapes them. It brings them back with new timing, new awareness, and new purpose. Something from your past may resurface in your life soon. It could be a person you once shared a deep emotional connection with. It could be a situation that ended without proper closure. It could even be an opportunity you thought you lost forever. But now, the energy suggests movement where there was once silence. And Pisces, this is not random. There is a reason certain things leave your life at one point and return at another. It is often because the version of you who experienced the loss was not ready for the full meaning of that experience. Sometimes life removes something so you can grow without it. And then later, it brings it back when you have grown enough to understand it differently. Right now, you are not the same person you were before. Your emotional awareness has deepened. Your intuition has strengthened. Your understanding of yourself and others has evolved. And because of that, if something returns now, you will not see it with the same eyes as before. Pisces, there is also a strong emotional healing energy surrounding you today. You may notice that certain memories or feelings that once felt heavy are starting to lose their intensity. Not because they disappear completely, but because you are finally gaining clarity over them. Healing does not always feel like a dramatic transformation. Sometimes it feels like distance. Sometimes it feels like you are no longer emotionally attached to something that once controlled your thoughts. Sometimes healing simply feels like peace where confusion once lived. And that peace is becoming stronger within you now. This emotional shift is very important because it creates space. Space in your heart. Space in your mind. Space in your energy field. And whenever space is created, something new or renewed begins to enter. That is why return energy is so closely connected to healing energy in your life right now. Pisces, someone from your past may reconnect with you. This energy is very active. It may not happen in a dramatic way. It may begin quietly, a message that seems simple, a name that appears unexpectedly, a conversation that restarts after a long silence, or even a memory that triggers emotional reflection in someone connected to you. But what matters is not just the reconnection itself. It is the intention behind it. People do not return into our lives by accident. They return because something within them has shifted. Sometimes it is regret. Sometimes it is realization. Sometimes it is curiosity. And sometimes it is simply the recognition of what was once taken for granted. But Pisces, your role is not to rush toward conclusions. Your role is to observe, to feel, and to understand what energy is being presented to you now compared to before. Because timing changes everything. A connection that could not survive before may feel different now. Or it may reveal why it ended in the first place. Either way, clarity is coming. Pisces, another powerful theme today is second chance energy. But this does not always mean returning to the exact same situation. Sometimes second chances are disguised as new beginnings that feel familiar. A new opportunity that reminds you of an old dream. A new person who reflects a lesson from your past. Or a new path that feels strangely connected to something you once lost. The universe does not simply repeat experiences. It evolves them. It refines them. It brings them back when you are capable of responding differently. And Pisces, you are in that phase now. You are not reacting from confusion anymore. You are not making decisions from emotional overwhelm. You are becoming more centered, more intuitive, more aware of what aligns with your peace and what does not. That is why anything returning now carries meaning, because you are finally able to understand it clearly. Pisces, there is also an important message about hope replacing disappointment. You may have carried emotional weight from a past experience for longer than you realized. Something did not go the way you expected. Something ended without closure. Something left a mark on your emotions. But now, something inside you is shifting. The disappointment is losing its grip. And in its place, a quiet sense of hope is forming. Not forced hope, not illusion, but a natural softening of the heart. A readiness to believe again. A readiness to trust again. A readiness to allow life to surprise you again. And that is powerful. Because when the heart opens again after disappointment, it becomes receptive to new possibilities that were not visible before. Pisces, you may start noticing small signs around you. Subtle reminders, repeated symbols, thoughts that feel unusually strong, or dreams that seem emotionally meaningful. Do not ignore these signals. Your intuition is becoming more active, and it is aligning you with the changes approaching your life. Sometimes intuition does not speak in words. It speaks in feelings, a sense of knowing, a sense of anticipation, a sense that something is about to shift. And right now, your intuition is preparing you, not for loss, but for return. Pisces, something you thought was gone may not be finished with you yet. But whether it returns or not, the most important part is how you have changed through the experience. Because you are no longer the same version of yourself who first experienced it. And that changes everything. In the next part of this reading, we will go deeper into what this return energy means for your emotional path, how to recognize whether something is truly meant for your highest good, and what the universe is preparing to replace old disappointment with. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper, and comment below. I am open to what returns. Because Pisces, something in your story is not over yet. Pisces, welcome back. If you are still here, it means something inside you is quietly trying to understand what this return energy really means for your life. Because part 1 was not just about the possibility of something coming back. It was about something deeper. It was about you becoming the version of yourself who can finally see things clearly. And now we go even deeper into that truth. Pisces, one of the most important things you need to understand right now is this. Not everything that returns is meant to stay the same. And not everything that returns is meant to stay at all. Sometimes the universe brings something back into your life not to restart it, but to complete it properly. To give you understanding where there was confusion. To give you closure where there was silence. To give you peace where there was emotional weight. And in some cases, to show you how much you have grown beyond it. Because Pisces, growth is not always obvious while it is happening. But when something from the past appears again, it becomes a mirror. A mirror that shows you who you were then, and who you are now. And that difference is everything. You may find that if something from your past returns, your reaction is not the same as before. Where you once felt emotional intensity, now you may feel calm observation. Where you once felt confusion, now you may feel understanding. Where you once felt attachment, now you may feel awareness. And that shift is not emotional distance in a negative way. It is emotional maturity. Pisces, there is a strong message in your energy right now about discernment. Discernment means the ability to recognize what is aligned with your peace and what is not. Because when something returns, it will not come with a label saying, "This is good for you," or "This is not." It will come in the same human form as before. Same energy. same voice, same familiarity, but you will not be the same person receiving it. And that is where your power is now. You will feel things differently. You will notice things more clearly. You will sense intentions more deeply. And your intuition will guide you faster than your emotions can confuse you. Pisces, this is why emotional healing has been so important for you lately. Because healing is not just about feeling better. It is about seeing better. It is about understanding patterns. It is about recognizing emotional cycles. It is about no longer repeating what once hurt you simply because it feels familiar. And right now, your emotional awareness is at a turning point. You are beginning to respond differently to things that once controlled your emotions. That is a major shift, and it is preparing you for whatever enters or re-enters your life next. Pisces, there is also a message about timing that you need to understand very clearly. If something returns, it will not return randomly. It will return at a moment when you are capable of making a different choice than before. That is how the universe tests growth. Not through difficulty, but through repetition with awareness. A familiar situation appears again, and this time you are given the chance to respond differently, to choose differently, to feel differently, or to walk away differently. And Pisces, whatever you choose in that moment will define the next direction of your emotional path. Because not every return is meant to be accepted. Some returns are meant to be observed, understood, and released. Pisces, you may also notice a shift in how people around you behave. Someone who was once distant may become curious again. Someone who once misunderstood you may begin to reconsider their opinion. Someone who once took your presence for granted may suddenly become more aware of your absence or your growth. But remember this, their realization does not define your value. It only confirms what was already true. You have always had worth. You have always had depth. You have always had emotional strength. And now that is becoming visible not just to you, but to others as well. Pisces, let's talk about the emotional replacement energy forming in your life. Because something very important is happening underneath everything else. Old emotional weight is slowly being replaced. Not instantly, not dramatically, but steadily. Where there was confusion, clarity is forming. Where there was disappointment, understanding is forming. Where there was emotional attachment, emotional freedom is forming. And that creates space. Space for something new. Space for something healthier. Space for something more aligned with who you are becoming. Pisces, this is why you may feel moments of emotional quietness lately. Not emptiness, not sadness, but calm. A sense that your heart is no longer as heavily tied to certain past experiences as it once was. And that is healing working silently in the background. Now let's come to your lucky number. Pisces, your lucky number is still 3, but its meaning is now deeper. It represents communication between past and present energy. It represents emotional lessons becoming understanding. It represents cycles that are ready to complete their final message. If you notice the number 3 appearing in your daily life, it is a reminder that something is aligning again. But this time with awareness. And your lucky color, ocean blue, is also very significant right now. It is not just about calmness. It is about emotional truth. Ocean blue energy does not hide feelings. It helps you understand them without being overwhelmed by them. It helps you flow through emotional experiences instead of resisting them. And that is exactly where you are right now. In flow, not confusion. Pisces, as we come to the end of this reading, the universe wants you to hold on to one final truth. If something returns to your life, you will not return to who you were before. You will respond differently. You will understand differently. And you will choose differently. Because you have grown beyond the emotional version of yourself that once experienced confusion. And that growth is your protection. So whether something comes back or not, you are not the same person anymore. And that alone changes everything. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper, and stay connected for your daily guidance. And comment below. I trust my growth and my intuition, because Pisces, whatever is returning or not returning, you are already ready for it.